Are you trying to understand the different D minor handpan scales or figure out the difference between a D Kurd and a D Celtic handpan? Then you're in the right place. D minor handpans are some of the most popular handpan scales in the world, and today we're going to break down how these scales work, how their notes differ, and what makes each one of them unique. I'm Jess from Isthmus Instruments. Let's take a closer look. First things first, what is a D minor handpan? A D minor handpan is built around the notes of the D minor scale: D, E, F, G, A, B flat, and C. But here's where things get interesting and where a lot of confusion comes in. Not every D minor handpan includes all of these notes. Different handpan scales use different combinations of these notes, which creates different sounds and different playing experiences. So when you're looking at different handpan scales, what you're really comparing is the note layout, which notes are included and which ones are left out. Before we explore the most popular D minor handpan scales, let's address something that confuses a lot of players. There's no universal standard for naming handpan scales. That means two scales with the same notes might have different names depending on the maker. For example, a D Celtic handpan is sometimes called a D Amara, and the D Kurd is sometimes called a D Anaziska. So instead of focusing only on the name, it's best to look at the actual notes of the handpan. Now, let's compare the three most popular D minor handpan scales so you can clearly see the differences between them. The D Celtic handpan is one of the most popular D minor scales. If you look at the notes, you'll notice that the B flat is missing. This slightly changes the structure of the scale and gives it a more open, flowing sound. Because of this note layout, many players find the D Celtic very approachable and easy to play. The D Kurd handpan includes all the notes of the D minor scale. This means it's fully diatonic and it gives you the most complete version of the D minor sound. Because of this, the D Kurd is one of the most versatile handpan scales and it's widely used in both beginner and advanced playing. So, if you're comparing D Kurd versus the D Celtic handpan, the main difference comes down to the note layout. The D Kurd includes the full scale, while the D Celtic removes the B flat, which changes the overall feel. The D integral is another version of the D minor handpan. In this case, the G note is removed. Even though it's just one note difference, it totally changes how the scale feels and resolves musically. This is a great example of how small changes in a handpan's note layout can have a big impact on the sound. This is why understanding the notes in a handpan scale is so important. Just one note can completely change the character of the instrument. Another important thing you might notice when looking at D minor handpans is the number of notes. You'll often see versions like a D Kurd 9, 10, 12, 14, or even 16. So what does this actually mean? The number refers to how many notes are physically on the instrument. As more notes get added, you're usually getting additional notes from the same D minor scale, often extending into higher or lower octaves. So even though a D Kurd 10 and a D Kurd 14 are different instruments, they're still built from the same D minor foundation. The difference is how much range you have to explore. This is another example of how handpan design builds on the same set of notes but expands what's possible musically. Beyond these three, there are several other D minor handpan scales you might come across. Many of these are very similar with only one or two notes different. And again, those small differences in notes are what create different moods and musical possibilities. So how do you think about the D Celtic versus the D Kurd in practice? The D Celtic tends to feel more open and effortless. Because of its note layout, it has a very flowing, resonant sound that's easy to sit down and enjoy right away. A lot of players love it simply because it's fun to play and naturally sounds good. So while both are built from the same D minor foundation, they offer slightly different experiences depending on how you want to play. If you're curious, the Isthmus team here tends to prefer the D Celtic. So how should you think about these different handpan scales? Instead of focusing on which one is better, it's more helpful to understand how the note layout affects the sound. Each D minor handpan scale offers a slightly different balance of tension, openness, and resolution. That's what makes handpans so expressive. Small changes in notes create completely different musical experiences. Trust your ears. The only thing that truly matters is whether you enjoy the sound. Don't worry about exact note matches. If you're learning from videos or lessons, your handpan might sound a little different. That's completely normal. Different scales create different feelings. And finally, consider availability. Whether you're exploring a D Kurd, a D Celtic, or a D Integral Handpan, they're all built from the same D minor foundation, but their note layouts create very different sounds. The best way to understand the difference between handpan scales is to listen closely and notice how those notes interact. Do you want to learn more about handpan scales and how they're built? Check out our full guide on our D minor handpan scales on our website. And let us know, which scale do you like best?